What up guys, Cleaning PhD here, and today we're doing some screen cleaning and some exterior windows here on this house. So I want to first off start by talking about how I clean screens. Obviously there's a bunch of different ways to clean screens. I like to keep a couple different ways in my pocket, in my back pocket, just so I can, be versatile. Pretty much with anything on a window cleaning job, you want to have a couple different ways to clean things in your back pocket, because things don't always go as planned. So this is just a couple ways I clean screens. I found that the microfiber cloth is going to be your best bet because they don't leave lint. These Huck towels are really absorbent. They're really great for cleaning windows and doing detailing and stuff. However, they can leave a little bit of lint. These ones more so than these ones. And by the way, I would highly recommend these big surgical Huck towels. These are much better than these smaller surgical towels. These leave a lot of lint and they also get destroyed in the dryer. So we're actually going to take our microfiber cloth here, and what I've got set up is basically a bucket full of water. Use some soap here. You can basically use any kind of dish soap you want. Just fill it up with water, put a few squirts in there. You actually, with cleaning screens, you want to be very gentle on the soap because you don't want the screens to be all foamy. And that's the main thing. So if you're at a window here, you can actually go ahead and you can clean the screen while it's still on the window. And that makes it so you don't have to hold the screen on both sides. So one side's already clean. I just take the towel and I go over it like so. And then you can bend all the way down to get this lower part, but I like to flip the screen around so I can just stay with a nice straight back, because 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 screens are not going to be very fatiguing. Dropped a clip there. That's another thing we can mention. So 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 screens is not going to be super fatiguing. But if you're doing a lot of window cleaning, you want to find ways to do things where you're comfortable, all right? Where you can keep a good rhythm. Where did I drop that? I just dropped a piece of the screen. I'm trying to find it. These wood chips all look like the clips I'm looking for. Oh boy. So with screens, something I want to show you, they've got clips. A lot of times they've got locking mechanisms and clips and things. Some of them have little levers that you're able to lock the screen into the window. But I want to just point out that you want to be very careful when doing screens, because little things will fall off and you just want to keep track of all that. And hopefully I'll find it by the end. But that is so strange. All right, so when you're cleaning the windows, when you're cleaning these screens, always look out for these little clips, these little locks, because these things fall off all the time. So this little locking mechanism, they just easily fall out. So you're gonna wanna wipe the screens on both sides actually. Make sure they're nice and clean on both sides of the screen. You're going to want to go through, clean the frame, and actually this middle part here as well. So this is usually my go-to method for cleaning screens. It works really well, it's fast, and you don't have to set up a whole lot to do this. You just need a towel, preferably microfiber, but honestly, those Huck towels, a kitchen towel, a dish towel, those will all work perfectly fine for cleaning screens. So no fret there, basically. So yeah, this is just the process. Once you get quick at it, it takes just about a minute or so per screen. So you can bang out 20, 30, 40 screens very easily. It'll probably take a little bit less than a minute per screen. So the downsides of this method are that it doesn't actually clean the screen. If you have a very particular type of client, this might not work, because some people, some certain clients, especially if they're very high end, if they're paying a lot for the window cleaning, they're gonna see this, or maybe they're neither of those, but they are a certain type of personality. And I'll just let you guys infer what type of personality that is. If the customer is of a very specific type of personality, they're gonna see you wiping down these screens with a towel, and they're not gonna like it. It's gonna be seen as inferior. I've only got very few customers that are like this, because I've, over the years, weeded out customers, or they just don't call you back because they know that you clean the screens like you do. So I don't have a whole lot of problems. This screen is stuck. Sometimes the screens get stuck. So what I did with these windows is I basically just went inside and I took out the lock for the windows so that you can just easily grab the window or the screens like so. Easy to take out. These are all ground level, so I can just reach up and grab them. If they've got a couple second story screens as well, but those are, I took those out already. Those are these screens. So another way to clean the window screens would be using a hose. So maybe you do the same exact method with the towel, but you use a lot more soap on the screens and get them super sudsy and saturated. And then you rinse all that off with the garden hose. That's honestly one of the best ways to get the screens the most clean. However, there's factors that you want to consider when talking about screens is different types of factors. So like the dirtiness of the screen. So this method I'm using now, it's the best for maintenance cleans, because I do this house a couple times a year and I do a really good job, obviously. And so if you have a house that's very well maintained, you don't actually need to clean it as thoroughly, or it doesn't need to be cleaned as much because it's already a little bit clean, you know? However, there's lots of houses where it's the first time cleaning. Maybe they only get it done a couple times a year, something such as this. Those factors are things you want to consider when cleaning the screens. Most of the time, I clean them like this anyways, because what I say, if the windows haven't been cleaned in a while, what I say is that the windows will be 100% cleaner than before I was there. However, they might not clean up to be 100% brand new. They won't be crystal, because it'll take a couple cleanings to actually get to the point where you can easily maintain the windows. So some new clients, even if they have quite dirty screens, this method will clean them up fantastically in relation to where they were when you got there. And so that's the key. If something hasn't been cleaned in years and years, let's say some people, like, they build their house and then they don't have their windows cleaned for 20 years, okay? And so if you expect, it's similar. I think people get the analogy with a car. Because with a car, if you wait years and years to get your car cleaned, you're not going to expect that it's going to be pristine when it comes out of the car wash, because the car wash is what we call a maintenance clean. As such, with the window screens and my cleanings in general, I'm just doing maintenance cleans. So it's if somebody wants to hire me for some sort of post-construction cleaning or some sort of deep, detailed cleaning, that can be charged out. Of course, you want to keep 3 points of contact on the ladder, actually, is what they recommend, and what I recommend as well. So keep 3 points of contact on the ladder at all times. This one's an ASMR window. Let me know if you can tell a difference between my right and my left there. And so, yeah, there's all sorts of lingo that I have in, it's not a contract because I don't actually have contracts technically with clients, but it's all outlined in the work order, essentially. What things are included, what things are not included. Oh man. Whew, that was heavy. These little guys, you want to be careful not to be stepping on these and breaking these because they're cut back in the winter, but in the summer, all these little, I don't know, you just want to be very careful about plants. You don't want to be, you know, crushing people's, oh gosh. Well, I just broke that thing. It's just plastic, essentially, and it's super brittle because it's kind of cold today. Actually, today is a little bit of a warmer day. It's about 45 degrees, which for Michigan is, definitely a little bit of a warmer day. And so when I'm up on this ladder like this is not like it's a little wobbly. I feel safe and everything, but you just want to keep a hand, just, you know, because it's easy enough when you're up here, but after time and you get a little tired, you know, mistakes happen. So it's much better to go a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical, a little bit more deliberate, if you may, rather than just going as fast as you can and maybe slipping off the ladder. So this is a perfect example where it really helps to have two hands be able to clean the windows. Yeah, it really helps to have two hands be able to clean the windows. Trust me, it's something, at least start by scrubbing with your left. At least start with that, because that is incredibly beneficial. Take the ladder here, and I think I'm gonna extend it out because it's fairly flat ground here. So I think I can put the ladder up real quick. Yikes. Yeah, it's a little crooked. Jeez. I don't think it's not doable though. So yeah, you always want to be safe on the job site. It's much better to go nice and slow. Than go super fast, you know? Because it doesn't seem, ladders can seem very dangerous to people who are not used to ladders. They seem, and they are, they're inherently a little bit dangerous. But once you get familiar with ladders, window cleaning, how to handle a ladder, how to step on a ladder, you know, you get used to the heights and everything, it almost seems like NBD. It seems like no big deal when you're on them. But it just takes one little slip, and it's all ogre. Nice, get that. So yeah, like I was saying with the contract, there's certain things that are written in the work order. Like for instance, when I'm doing these ledges here, these visible ledges, what it says is one wipe with a damp cloth on the visible ledges, a wipe. So I'm gonna do more than that, okay? If I see the ledge is pretty dirty, you know, I'll clean it up a little bit. I'll spend the extra, you know, in this case, it's probably 10 seconds. I'll spend the extra 10 seconds just to, you know, make it look nice. So this ladder is certainly on a slant. I feel pretty good about it. This is a case again where I'm right-handed, but I walk up the ladder and there's no way I can use my right hand on this because it's on the opposite side and the right hand's grabbing the ladder. So you wouldn't want to take your hand off the ladder to clean the windows, and then you've got, what, just 2 points of contact on the ladder? And that is not a good situation. So, yeah, whatever you do, learn to clean the windows using both hands. Simple as. So, yeah, I want to get into different types of cleaning the windows. This is a very traditional way of cleaning the windows. It's what they call traditional. You're putting up the ladder, you know, you're just putting up the ladder to the windows and doing your thing. It is the traditional method. This one's way more flat. So I can go into ladder safety. I can go into different ways to clean the windows. You know, traditional, double hung, bring them in from the inside. Water-fed pull, you know, and also traditional pull, which is probably one of the most advanced techniques in window cleaning, is the traditional pull. It is something that it could take months and months of practice to get to a good spot with it. Obviously, you can put up a pole and do your straight pulls if you want. That's always something you can do. But straight pulls are not going to cut it in a lot of circumstances. So here's another thing. I think of all these things on the fly. So we've done this top level of windows. As you notice, I didn't go straight for the bottom windows. I went for these top sets of windows. So when you're doing windows, you always want to work from top to bottom. You never want to clean the windows here because obviously if there's a window above this and you clean this window down here, you could easily drip on the window and then you've got to clean it yet again. So another handy tip is always work from top to bottom. Never the opposite, or you'll just mess yourself up, man. I'm giving you the tips. I am giving you the tips, man. It's amazing seeing clients, because you see them a couple times a year, but it's amazing how it always feels like it was just yesterday that I was out here, even though it was, you know, months ago, 6, 7, 8 months ago. And it's amazing what can happen, you know. Sometimes you show up and the husband was there, and then 6 months later, the husband's not there, and you know, it's a bit sobering, honestly, because you serve a lot of high-end clients, you know, because if you can't afford, you know, afford your bills, your medical bills, or whatever, if you can't afford your bills, you're not going to be affording window cleaning. So there's a lot of older people, a lot of middle-aged people. Obviously, I've probably had a couple clients that are in their 30s, but that is not super standard. And I totally forgot these windows on the bottom that I've got to do. Got to take the screens out of there still. So I'm actually going to end up going inside and then coming out here to clean these. But I can do what I can from the inside, or the outside now. Yeah, so it's amazing that, you know, it seems like 6 months. It is 6 months. It seems like it was just yesterday, but a lot can change, you know, especially when you're older. A lot can change in 6 months. Surgeries and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Excuse me. And so this is another thing that's not included. Wiping down all the frames. It's something that I do occasionally, but it's not actually required. And they couldn't complain. I mean, they could complain, but I'd have a reasonable defense. It's my opinion that you always want to work in, when you're at these jobs, you just want to take note of every possible thing that a customer could complain about. So, you know, oh, you didn't wipe the tracks for 20 minutes. You didn't. Sometimes people just have expectations that are just wildly misaligned with the actual scope of the work. So, able to say, maybe they won't say, hey, you didn't do it for 20 minutes, but they'll imply that, hey, these tracks all need to be re-scrubbed, scrubbed again, and rinsed out with the hose, and they need to be absolutely impeccable. Well, sir, ma'am, if you look at the contract, the work order, we're actually just scrubbing the tracks. We're doing a wipe of the tracks with a damp cloth. So we actually did not charge you to wipe all your tracks and vacuum them out and hit them with the hose and get a brush in there and spend 20 minutes on each track. You were not charged for that. So, and that's not the expectation of the work order or what I came here for. It's not what you're billed for. So, however, if you'd like to discuss that, if you want to discuss the method of cleaning, if you want to discuss adding extra work, I'm 100% amenable to that. However, the scope of the job is not that. So that response though, you don't want to use that response right away. That response is saved for some intense high-level stuff where the customer is pissed. They think you're trying to win one over on them. They think you're dining and dashing. You know. So yeah, these are the windows that I actually got to come back on the inside and take out. So yeah, some customers, it's like code red. They think you're screwing them over and blah, 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 blah. Sir or ma'am, it's okay. It's not in the work order. However, like I said, that is a response you want to save because that's your big gun. Like, oh, it's not in the contract. Okay, that's the big gun. But you don't want to come out with that, because if the first thing you talk about, if a customer has a complaint and the very first thing you say is, oh, it's not in the contract, shut up, that is not going to go over well, all right? So the first thing you want to do is get the scope of their disagreement, get the scope of their concern. If they just want you to re-clean the window and wipe the track, that'll take 2 minutes. And what I often say is, yes, look, I'm here, I want you to be completely happy with this cleaning. I don't want to leave until I get this cleaning and everybody's happy, okay? So just reassure them that you're not trying to dine and dash, you're not trying to get out of there real quick. You're actually there to help them out. And we're going to come back and grab these screens and bring them over to these windows. So yeah, so if it's something minor like that, if it takes 10 or 15 minutes, by darn it, just do it. Because it's not worth, if there's the potential to salvage the interaction, I'd always rather do that than, oh, the contract says, now you can shut up, right? Because pulling that out will obviously make it a very adversarial situation, and that's not something we want when we're cleaning the customer's house. We don't want an adversarial situation. So what I start with is, if I can fix the problem in 10 to 15 minutes, and it's super simple, like most of the time it's like 2 minutes, right? It's just something super simple, it's no big deal. So you don't got to bring out the contract and like, oh, the contract says blah, blah, blah. You can just simply address the problem and be on your merry way. You don't have to get into a huge argument. So yeah, all right. Nice and clean. Yeah, so I never take these sliders off because they're incredibly difficult to get back. So I just recommend not even taking them off. Just clean them in the track. Sometimes customers will ask you to put their slider screen back on, but that takes way too much time and effort. And some of them just don't work well at all. I've never really found a great way to put those on and off, so I just don't deal with them. All right, back to the screen cleaning again. Just doing our standard stuff here. Nothing super fancy. We're almost done with this job. Taking us about an hour and a half. Job is for $185. So, really decent job. It's always nice to be able to just come out, clean windows for an hour or two, make $200-300, call it a day. Honestly, when I work in the winter, I get a security job, and honestly, it takes me like hours and hours to make what I make cleaning windows. $200 is like a full 8-hour day for, I mean, even if you're making 20 an hour, $200 is like your whole day. It's 10 hours. Although Yeah, I guess the taxes are being taken out anyway. With this, there's definitely more overhead than if you're working at a job, but honestly, it's way, way better. You make way more money. So yeah, I would never choose the job life over window cleaning. The wage slave is what they call them. Wage slavery. No, I don't knock on anybody, no matter what they're doing. Uh-oh, we gotta call if it's a scam. Suspected scam, yes. Blocked. You know, I've had that number for, honestly, that number's been around for years and years and years, my phone number. And I get so many scam callers. So I'm beginning to think maybe I should switch up my phone number so I don't get all these scammers calling me all the time. That's my personal line, so not the business line. The business line actually you get way less scam callers. It's a newer number, so. Maybe I'll do that. All right, we're just getting an ASMR cleaning here. And these are nice and easy. Very easy to put back the screens. They're just at the ground level. Easy, easy peasy. I'm glad because honestly I've had, and I probably will this year still, I've had some major jobs in the winter that have really tested me. Sometimes that can be one of the worst things, or one of the most difficult things, I should say. Because honestly, even if it's a tough job, even if it's a really tough job, I'm usually pretty happy to be cleaning windows either way. You know, it's one of those things where if you really love something, there's hard times. There's times where I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't ever want to do this. I'm done. I'm getting out of it. You know, there's those times. But even in those times, I always come back around to where, you know, maybe you're just frustrated in the moment, but there's so much to be thankful for if you're doing this, you know? Even on the surface level stuff, like you get to be outside. I always feel better when I go outside. If you are sitting in an office or you just work from home, you really got to force yourself to go outside, or I do. I've done days work just inside, and honestly, it's not conducive to feeling my best. You know, and this is just me. I know plenty of people that would hate to do what I do. They would not be fond of the dirt and the grime cleaning. They would not be fond of the workload, the physicality required. So now we just got to pop these screens back on and lock them up from the inside. And this is a job completed. Uh-oh. Yes, job completed. So guys, if I can get this tripod off of here. This is Cleaning PhD here. And just want to let you know that I'm back making videos. And this is an awesome screen cleaning tutorial and window cleaning tutorial. So guys, I want you to smash that like button. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want to see. This is Cleaning PhD, back at you with another cleaning video. I'll see you guys in the next one.